Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about the drill press and how we drill holes in metal. Now you've all drilled holes in wood before, but the metal process is a little bit different, so I wanted to touch on a few things here. It's just going to be a short, quick video going over drilling into. Okay, we're going to start by talking about the drill press cabinet and where our items are for the welding class. So right here on this middle shelf we have our drill index. These are the drill bits we use for drilling into metal. We want to keep these separate from the woodworking drill bits. The main reason for that is because we use oil when we drill into metal to keep the drill bit cool enough so that it doesn't burn up and get too hot and then dull our bits. So we don't want oil or metal shavings over our woods projects, so that's why we're going to keep those things separate. So never drill into metal with our wood drill bits, okay? And make sure you're choosing the correct drill bit for what it is you're drilling into. So if we're drilling into steel, you're never going to use a Forstner bit or any bit that has a point on it like this one here does. Okay, those are for wood only, so make sure that you're choosing the correct type of bit. This one here is another common one that people use to drill into metal incorrectly. This is a brad point bit. So again, it's got that center point on it, so we will not be using that for metal. We will still need the chuck key, so that is on the top shelf where it always is. Our middle shelf has, like I said, the oil, our twist bits, and then we have a few of these step bits just in case the application we're using calls for one. All right, let's go drill some holes. Okay, so we're going to drill holes in this angle iron here, just like you're going to do for your shelf. So I'm using a combination square. I'm marking 1 inch from the end on each end of this piece of angle iron, and then I'm going to mark the center of this piece as well. Okay, now I'm just eyeballing the center of the flat piece of angle iron here and going across my first line. So I'll have a crosshair here when I'm done. Okay, now I'm going to use a center punch and a metal hammer. I'm going to strike center punch one single time for each of these holes so that I have a good spot for my drill bit to follow. Alright, so here you can see my center mark. It's a little darker spot right here. Okay, now I'm going to use the 9/64 twist bit to drill a hole. This is going to be the shank hole for my rivets. So it's one size bigger than an 1/8. We're using 1/8 inch rivets. Alright, so now we're ready to drill our holes. So a couple ways you can do this. If you have a small piece, you can use a vise like I have here. You just clamp your piece down, and then you'll be able to drill your holes in that, and that'll keep that from grabbing and twisting when the drill bit starts to drill into it. Okay, so I'm inserting the 9/64 twist bit into the chuck. I want to have about a finger's thickness of that flat part of the shaft still sticking out of the chuck. Tighten it down with the chuck key. Now I am not using the vise because this piece is long enough that I can hold on to it. So I'm still going to need a board underneath it because I do not want to drill holes in this board here. Alright, so I'm going to pull the straw out of this bottle of oil, and then you just squeeze the bottle and you'll get a drop of oil. You only need a drop for these smaller holes like this, and we're drilling into thin metal, so it won't really require much more than that. If we're drilling into thicker material, we may have to reapply more oil, but this is pretty small. Alright, make sure you always remove your drill bit from the drill press. So using the chuck key, I'm going to drop that down, and I'm holding on to the shaft of it there because that drill bit's very hot. Okay, so I have my sheet metal. This is going to be similar to how you make your shelf. A little bit different, but this process will be the same for any application. So I'm going to use a combination square. I'm going to set this for how high I want my angle iron to be placed on my sheet metal. And then I slide the sheet metal hanging off the table and then just mark the top edge of my ruler. Okay, I'm going to use a scratch awl and a wooden mallet to mark the center of my holes. So I have my angle iron lined up on my sheet metal where I want it to go, and then I just punch through the holes I made in my angle iron. Okay, so I'm going to use that 9/64 twist bit again, but this time I'm going to use it on a hand drill. I'm just going to drill through my sheet metal here at the table. Once you have your drill bit in the drill, then you're going to switch it to 2 for a faster speed, and then select the drill bit on the clutch setting because we're drilling holes. Make sure you have a piece of wood underneath so that you don't drill into the table. And I'm actually going to slide this off the edge of the table so that in case I do go through this thin piece of wood here, it doesn't go into the actual work table. Since I'm only drilling through sheet metal, it's very thin, I don't need to apply oil here. I'm just going to drill right through it. Okay, now I'm ready for my pop rivet gun, which is right here. And I'm going to grab some rivets out of here. These are pop rivets. I'm going to grab 3. They're all the same size in this bucket. So I got my pop rivet inserted into the holes where they line up, and there's a hole here on the pop rivet gun that slips right over the top of the pop rivet itself. Make sure that pop rivet gun is tight against the sheet metal, and then squeeze until it pops. And then the long piece that you saw sticking out breaks off, and then we have a nice good hold there with a rivet. And then here's the other side where it splays out